Hello! Welcome back to Fandom Entertainment. I'm going to get this out of the gate as soon as we start talking, before I even introduce myself as Danielle Radford and introduce him, of course, as Eric Goldman. You guys, this is called Burning Questions, Endgame, Avengers. This is filled with spoilers.
All the spoilers.
All of the spoilers. So many spoilers. Very important spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, first of all, what are you doing? Go turn this off, go to the theater, go watch the movie right now. It is in theaters in all places. And secondly, definitely do not watch this if you have not seen the movie. And if you do, don't at me. I warned you. All right, so after seeing, much like all of you, we had some burning questions about what some of these things that happened in Avengers Endgame were. And so today, we're going to be talking about some of these things have definite answers. Some of it's going to be just us speculating.
Yep, that's what we're here for.
Speculating. All right, and so one of the first questions that we had, and all of these were very important ones.
Yep.
So we see at the end of Avengers Endgame, Peter Parker, who is back, yay Pete, goes back to school.
Yes.
With all of his classmates, and runs into Ned, who also has clearly not aged. And so we know that in between the time of the snap, and you know they had that 5-year gap where everyone was real sad and the world was depressing and the leftovers. And so our question was, did all of Spider-Man's classmates get snapped? Because we know they're going on European vacation.
Right. This is where Far From Home really comes into play, right? Because the trailers show all the returning characters. Only Liz, who left at the end of the first movie, is not with them, right? MJ is with them. Flash is with them. So, okay, so are we supposed to think that all of them were gone this whole time? They've all returned, and now they have to go back to high school. I guess it's possible. It just seems unlikely. It just seems like that seems very much a stretch that would happen.
Well, and you know, the Russos and everyone, Kevin Feige, it is known that they put things that are not actually happening in the trailers in order to throw us off. It is possible. We have confirmed Ned. We saw him, so we know that he is also still a child, although he is 5 years older. Technically, I guess.
But not biologically, right?
Man, how are the birthdays going to work?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess you're 21 now with the brain of a 15-year-old, whatever. So we know that, obviously cast announcements have been made. We've seen people shooting things. It is very possible that one or two of these characters that we've seen in this trailer are in the movie, but in a different way.
Right.
You know, they might be there on the vacation, but maybe, instead of it being that they're part of the class, maybe they're a TA that's working there now.
Maybe
it's
like
for
Screech.
a college credit. Maybe it's like Screech, where now they're the assistant principal.
That's
it's
right.
very possible. All of these actors have very young faces, but adult, grown-up bodies and brains and are adults.
I don't think they're supposed to be adult bodies because Hawkeye's kids are still kids. So I think it is just that they...
Oh, no, I mean the actors. All of these actors are in their 20s, so they couldn't play people who are in their 20s.
That's true. That's very true.
So
yeah. So that's the thing is because look, there's some people have been wondering up till now, still wondering, what if Far From Home actually takes place before Infinity War, right? I still think that's highly unlikely. But who knows? Maybe parts of it do. Like, there can be some curveballs thrown at us. We have not seen a second trailer yet from Far From Home. I think it's going to give us a lot more context for what's happening here.
And in the same way that really the Endgame trailers were only about the first 15 minutes of the movie with a few spatterings of other things, it's very possible that all the Far From Home stuff that we've seen, it takes place during one specific time in the movie and ignoring all the rest of it.
Right. I think that either all of his close classmates, the ones we know, they were all snapped and came back, or that, like you said, there's going to be some strange, maybe they have to go a little wonky to explain it, but they'll explain why they're all on this trip, whether they're all graduating together or not.
Wow, what an unlucky high school.
Right.
All right, speaking of things that we already know that have been announced, we know that there is going to be a Black Widow movie. What do we think that Black Widow movie is going to look like now that she sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone?
Yes, this is an interesting one. And I guess we should say it's like, technically, the movie hasn't been announced yet. Like, technically, they haven't said it, even though we know it exists. There's been several people cast in it at this point, and we're assuming by the end of the summer, they'll say, here's our slate.
Right.
There had already been talk it was probably a prequel. This leans us to confirm it is. But one thing I'll definitely say is I've seen some people say, oh, well, what's the point then? If she's dead now, it's a prequel, but it won't add anything to it, which first I'll say, hey, it can just be a cool, interesting story into of itself. But also I'll say, they're going to seed stuff for later.
Yep.
And so we, Florence, am I saying her last name right? Pugh?
I believe it's Pugh.
Okay, Pugh, who was great in Fighting With My Family.
Very good in Fighting
She's
With
been
My
cast in it. And a lot of people, like me, have said, oh, wonder if she's playing Yelena, the other Black Widow in the comics. So
The blonde.
The blonde one, yeah. I am betting that there'll be something like Natasha training this girl being her nemesis, but then they come to agree, or something where this character can come back later. We meet her before,
right,
but now she can show up in the Eternals or Shang-Chi or something in a couple of years.
Yeah, and then we'll see someone else in the Black Widow suit.
Yes.
I guess I'll just continue with this since we've done that one. We've got this one. Mm-hmm. We did write all of these questions down because these are very important.
Yes.
So now continuing with the, hey, what's up with that? And
Sure.
things that have already been announced. We know that Disney Plus is going to have a Loki television show.
Yes.
We also know that in Endgame, 2012 first Avengers movie Loki does run away, and he runs away with the Tesseract.
Yes.
So what do we think that means, and where do we think he is now?
So again, all the rumors and speculation are just that. We don't know if any of this is true, but the rumors about the Loki show were that A, it's probably a prequel, and B, that it would be something like Loki traveling through time, like not traveling through time, but Loki in different eras, and what he was doing in different eras. Now that this happened in Endgame, I feel like it's going to be about this Loki, right? It will not be about the Loki we knew who died, because we have to answer that question. Where did he go?
Where did he go?
So this is the more villainous Avengers era Loki, and we'll talk about another character who's also in a sort of different part of their life. But it seems very likely, right, that this show will be about what happened to this version of Loki, and maybe it still involves him popping up in strange places. He has a Tesseract. Man, those Tesseracts, they're everywhere. I know there's only one.
It's littered with Tesseracts. Everywhere, there's one
You're
here,
tripping
there's
over
one there.
Loki almost literally tripped over a Tesseract in Avengers Endgame.
Oh, they're just all over the place.
Yes.
It's crazy. Okay, so yeah, one more character. Someone just entered the studio. Sorry, guys, spoilers.
Spoilers for Avengers Endgame. If you walk in here,
Endgame. You just walked in.
You're risking it all.
So there's another character, as you said, who has been plucked out of time and is now in a different point in their life, and that is Gamora.
Yeah.
So what do we think is going to happen? Because now this is, what year would have this been? 2014?
2014.
Yeah, so now this is the Gamora who, while she always had that bit of good in her, she has not had any of the Guardians adventures.
Yeah.
Where do you think her story could possibly lead to?
And this one, they did a little more specific seating, right? Because she meets Quill, kicks him in the nuts, and I'm trying to remember if that's the last time we see him or see her, or if it was when she was united with all the other female heroes. But
I believe that was the last time that we.
So then she ghosts.
She's skadoots.
But then the last time we see Star-Lord, he has her up on a screen and it's saying searching, searching, searching. So he's looking for her. He loves her, but she doesn't remember that she loves him. And I think we definitely have like a huge plot point for Guardians 3 there, right? Whether
the search for Gamora.
The search for Gamora or the running into Gamora if it's a while later. But that finding that Gamora who does not have memories of these people as her teammates and her friends. She has the connection with Nebula, but that's it. So I think that that clearly is setting up a big Guardians 3 set, especially by having that searching screen. It's like, okay, she's out there, and now we know how Gamora was both taken away and yet still in play for Guardians 3.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, and so all right, well, continuing with the Guardians, I'm skipping all over because I'm trying to do segues. I'm not as good at them as Roth is. So speaking of the Guardians. At the end of Endgame, we do see that thick Thor, who, by the way, this isn't even a burning question, this is just true, can get it. So we know that thick Thor is now hanging out with the Guardians. There's a little bit of who's going to be the leader, some of that tension. Do we think Thor's just going to be a Guardian now?
I feel like he could definitely, especially the way the MCU works, I will not be shocked to see him in some capacity in Guardians 3, right? Maybe he's not with them when it picks up, but then he comes into the story at some point. It also makes a lot of sense because even going into this movie, we had heard pretty much that Downey and Evans were done, but that Hemsworth was more open to continuing. And it seems like, okay, he can now transition into that Downey spot of maybe I don't have my own movie anymore. Maybe I do. I know Tessa Thompson's been talking about the possibility, but if there's not a Thor 4, he can now still pop up in other people's movies. And the Guardians thing seems perfect. They did a little Easter egg where he said the Asgardians of the Galaxy, which is an actual title from the comics.
That's so cute.
It is adorable.
It's so cute.
So I think,
love me a portmanteau, man.
I feel like Thor will show up in Guardians 3. Again, I have this feeling he might not be like a full-fledged member of the team. Like maybe they've dropped him off somewhere, because he does say I'm getting a ride. But I think they're going to be pals.
It's all space stuff.
Space
so
stuff.
That's some good space stuff. And it gets Thor back in space and off of the Depression, not island, inlet? Depression Harbor?
Depression Harbor.
Out of Depression Harbor of New Asgard.
But Korg doesn't have him to play video games with anymore.
Well, you know, yeah.
Maybe they can get a connection from space.
Oh, maybe. Do they do that in space?
I don't know.
Can you get Xbox? That's something that's a burning question for all of you. Are you able to connect onto Xbox Live in space? So, also characters who might be bouncing around don't really have their own movie. I am nailing segues. What do we think? Because of the original 6, this is the only character who does not really have closure, and we don't know where they're going to end up next or what their next step is. What do we think is next for the Hulk?
Yeah, this one, after I saw the movie the second time, I thought about this a lot. I was like, oh, they don't really give him a wrap-up scene. Everyone else gets, like, here's the wrap-up for now, at least. So, yeah, it's like at least we know he's in a better place as far as he's integrated. He's Hulk and Banner together. But it also...
I love, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I mentioned that might be the case in my Evolution of the Hulk video, and a lot of people told me that I was wrong and dumb. So now who's wrong and dumb? Still me, but in a different other way. Probably some way in this video. Don't let me know. Sorry, continue.
No. The main thing that this brings up to me is, look, the thing with Hulk and Thor and Captain Marvel now are how powerful they are, and that's why they always are taking them off the board. But so that's what's interesting, right? Bruce sticks around on Earth with the power of the Hulk, like he can control it. So you should think he would be showing up everywhere, right? Like, get the Hulk, who is now a reasonable person. So that's why it's like, I feel like, okay, his story can't be done, but they also will have to they'll have to come up with some reason again to take him off the board, right?
Well, he's still, and that is the interesting thing, they do show it a little bit here. In the comics, it's known that Professor Hulk is not the strongest Hulk.
Yeah. You
do have a bit of, you have to take away some of the power for some of the intelligence, because a lot of that power does come from basically berserking.
The rage,
but another thing we also know is that the Hulk is a huge celebrity now.
Yes.
Kids are coming up, taking selfies with him on whatever form of sad Instagram there is when half the people are dead. Oh man, do you think that there are people still doing vacation photos on Instagram in that 5 years? Which is like, well, here I am over by the sad missing stones again.
On another depressing stone place.
Oh look, here's a town with not a lot of people in it.
Right.
Buy tooth whitener. So we do know that he's a celebrity. This is just me having a funs. It's not going to happen. But you could very easily have him after things kind of calm down. He could start doing the talk show circuit, because everyone's going to have questions. The snapped people are going to have some. They're going to have their own burning questions. What happened in the last 5 years? Was Taylor Swift snapped? Did she put out a new album? What shows are on now? How did those Game of Thrones prequels actually wind up working? So the snapped are going to have their own questions, and they're going to need someone who can guide them through. I think that we have him do. Much like, have him do like a Planet Earth or some kind of science style, TV show where he breaks down what happened and what you can expect next.
I will say, although all of that I would love to believe is going to happen too, since as far as we know, they still can't do a solo Hulk movie for that whole thing with Universal. He will be popping up again as well, especially when you think about it, because Ruffalo's done way less movies than everyone else, because he never had a solo movie, and his contract started later.
He's probably not as burnt out.
He's not as burnt out. He probably still has more movies on his contract. So something in Phase 4, whether, hell, it could be Black Panther 2 or something,
Hook him up with some other sciencey people.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought of Black Panther, actually. Like, yeah, maybe he and Shuri can talk shop. I don't know. We'll be seeing him again.
Okay, and so perfect, we've got that. Who else? Another character who this one actually, I think we do have a better idea of some of their life, and that is new, speaking of Instagram hottie hair, new Instagram hottie hair Hawkeye with his amazing cut that he must get refreshed look at that thing. He's got to be going to the barber
even
at least
in
once a
his
week.
darkest, most, self-loathing, he was like, I got to get some product.
He has to get some product in that hair. It's amazing. So what do we think his status is now? Do we think that he is going to continue on as Ronin, but maybe not as, sad darkness? Do we think he's going to be Hawkeye? Do we think he's going to retire?
So, obviously he kept trying to go back to his family and just live a normal life, and they kept pulling him back in. So I think at the end it's like, okay, he's probably done with Ronin for sure. I think he would be back to being Hawkeye. He certainly can be happy Hawkeye again.
Don't grow out that hair though.
But this is where we
Keep
bring
that
up, this is where we bring up another, and don't cover those tats. This is where we bring up another Disney Plus show. This one was not officially announced yet, although it was like Variety, so it was a good source the day before Disney Plus's big announcement said they're doing a Hawkeye show with Jeremy Renner. Not officially announced yet, but the rumor is it's about him training maybe Kate Bishop from the comics to kind of take over the mantle. Mm-hmm. And that seems like a logical place to go with the character who keeps trying to retire. But obviously, has knowledge he can pass on, is to train Kate Bishop, although this also, of course, leads to another connected question.
Another connected question. We do see him training his daughter, Lila, and her getting really, really good with that bow and arrow. Do we think that maybe Lila is this version of Kate Bishop?
It seems likely. I mean, look, obviously already when you look at the MCU, they are taking stuff from the Ultimate Comics and they're mixing it all. I mean, even the fact that Hawkeye has a family, which was only in the Ultimate Comics, and Kate Bishop is very much a thing from the 616, the core Marvel universe. So I could see them saying 616, saying, taking his daughter and making her Kate, but at the same time, that would be, that actress is pretty young. So I still think there is room for Kate proper, which would also, it's funny, as I'm talking, I'm convincing myself maybe it's not going to be the daughter, because I feel like they'd want this Kate Bishop to kind of have her own thing going that could branch out, less connected to the Renner Hawkeye in the long term, because MCU, I mean, they are planning so many years ahead, and they're going so far ahead that at some point Renner will be done too.
And see, this is one that we didn't have on here, but I do think it's interesting because she is not the only daughter that is in this. We also have Cassie Lang, who is one of the Young Avengers. Stature in featured in Young Avengers. Do we think it's possible that they could build up to a Young Avengers?
100%. I think that's just that title screams will happen at some point, right? And especially now that we're 11 years in and you can do this legacy thing, and you can do whether it be the genetic child or a mentor-mentee.
And it feels earned, which is the most important.
Yeah, and look, again, because they don't have to stay exactly true to the comics, they could do Young Avengers with Spider-Man in it, There's a lot of mixing.
You could add Shuri into a Young Avengers, because she is still, as we all keep forgetting, like 16?
Yeah. And again, she skipped those 5 years.
21. It's fine. My brain hurts. Okay, so now we've picked up all of that. One last one before we're going to get to the bulk of the questions, because they basically all involve one person.
Yes.
I feel weird because there's like
at this
couple
point,
people,
guys.
There's a couple of people in the office.
I've heard a lot, but
there's a couple people in the office who haven't seen it yet, so we just look like Scooby-Doo, everyone going backwards and forwards into these closed doors.
Yes.
So at the end of the movie, when Tony has made his ultimate sacrifice, you see people at his funeral. Everyone's kind of gathered into groups of people who you know, and then there is one tall child, and many people have asked, Who is that tall child?
And this is the easiest answer because it just has a simple answer. Also, though, I just have been amused because I've answered this question about 10 times this week. I've been the go-to on this question.
Every time there was a period on, so we went to the Tuesday screening. As soon as it was up, me and Joe Starr turned to each other and both said, "Who was that tall child?" We then figured it out between ourselves, turned to Eric, who was next to us, and asked him, got back in the office. 2 hours later, someone pulls me in and says, "Who was that child?"
Yep.
This is the question that everyone's been asking.
And then I saw it at the Chinese last night, opening night, and we had a group of 18, and people kept coming up to me and saying, "Who was that kid at the end?" Harley from Iron Man 3, Ty Simpkins, who has when he was younger, it's funny saying a child actor since he's not quite an adult yet, but, when he was young, it's like Insidious, Iron Man 3, Jurassic World. We knew him very well as a young kid, but look, he's aged and puberty happened, and he's tall and looks different. And I get it why people were like just not even seeing. I did see the Russos talk about that, how they know a lot of people don't recognize him.
He looks completely different.
Looks very different.
He went from looking like definitely a cute cherubic little kid to looking like a young adult.
Yes. But I liked it. I'm Iron Man 3 ride or die. I love Iron Man 3. I know that's a controversial statement, but Harley showing up there, it felt right, guys. It felt right.
Okay, so now we're going to get to a huge chunk of the questions, which all has to do with Captain America.
Yes.
So many of these have to do with Captain America. So, where do we even begin with that? First question. We're going to start. I'm going to try to do this. So, in the Avengers, Endgame, which is the movie we're literally talking about right now, my brain is so full with so many things. I'm
familiar with that film.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Have you heard of this? Have you seen this? So, there is obviously one of the biggest moments that gets the biggest cheer, one of the best moments in the movie, is when Captain America, you see that he has picked up Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
And so a question that a lot of people have is, why is he able to pick up Thor's hammer?
Why now versus the other time we saw him try
to in Age of Ultron?
Right. And by the way, and when I saw this movie the second time, it was so drowned out by cheers, people didn't hear that Thor goes, "I knew it," when he picks it up. And so I think it's that he always could. I think in Age of Ultron, certain Captain America, if any, this is in the comics too, right? If anyone can hold that hammer, who's not an Asgardian, who's just that pure, that worthy, of course, Steve Rogers. They did that moment in Age of Ultron where he's the only one who made it even a tiny bit move. I think he could always fully pick it up. Now, why didn't it work in Age of Ultron? I've seen two theories, and I think that they both make sense in their own way, which is the one you mentioned. Do you want to say what the one you were
Okay, so there is one theory, and I haven't been able to, and this is my bad, because this was one that I saw recently.
Yeah.
I have not been able to independently confirm this for myself, so I just want to say that it is a theory, and I'm sure by now someone's went and found the audio. Someone mentioned that in the commentaries for Age of Ultron, in the director commentary, or the writers, or one of them, it was mentioned that he could lift the hammer. He was choosing not to because he's just that cool. He's just like a nice dude.
He just doesn't want to make the moment about him.
He doesn't want. Yeah, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. He knows how much it would hurt Thor if he. They had that whole exchange in the hallway at the end when he was feeling bad because Vision could lift it. So that is one of the theories I've heard. Again, I tried really hard to get a chance to independently verify that, but I was not able to before we shot this, and I apologize. That's my bad.
Well, with or without that commentary, though, I think that works as far as humble Steve. That's another reason he's worthy, is that he wouldn't want to be like, look, I can hold it up, which kind of piggybacks to the other theory, which I think also works, which is he didn't pick it up then because he didn't need to pick it up then. This is more like almost on he wasn't thinking about it. It just was the fact that he was always worthy of it, but he wasn't really trying. It didn't matter to him to pick it up at that moment. Versus in the middle of the battle for everyone's lives against Thanos, where it's like, I need that hammer, and guess what, Steve? You are worthy as hell, so you can hold that hammer. So that's right. At the end of the day, no matter what, it's not like he got more worthy since Age of Ultron.
He was worthy when he was Skinny Steve.
Yeah. He was worthy when he was a frail little guy in 1943 or whatever.
Yeah, he proved it by trying over and over again to try to join the military. He proved it when he jumped on Tommy Lee Jones's fake bomb.
Yes.
He's done nothing, but his entire arc is him proving his worthiness.
Yeah. So he was already worthy in Age of Ultron. He didn't get extra worthy. There's a couple reasons why maybe it didn't lift then.
And speaking of hammer time, that is another question. I wish I shouldn't have said that. Don't encourage me. The question is now, who got that hammer?
Mew Mew?
Where'd that hammer go?
Where did Mew Mew go?
Mew Mew. Mew Mew. What's Mew Mew?
So just to remind people that when Steve gets on the time platform at the end, he brings the hammer with him. Even that they never explicitly say, they say, return those stones from whence they came. They never mention the hammer. The logical explanation is he also returned the hammer from whence it came. He basically returned it to Thor in Thor the Dark World, who's like, where the hell is my hammer?
Yeah, because our Thor's got Stormbreaker, and he seems very happy with it. He seems like he's very attached. He went through a lot for Stormbreaker. He seems like they're in a good, healthy relationship. So
Steve just went back and returned that hammer. He snuck into Asgard, which must have been pretty cool for him to see Asgard for the first time.
Yeah. Space stuff, Asgard stuff. It's been a big couple of years for him.
Yeah, and got it back just in time for some dark elf mischief to be going down.
And speaking of also having to return things from whence they came, he also picked something up.
Yes.
He comes back, or not coming back. You see an older version of Steve.
Yeah.
Sitting on a bench, waiting for the fellas to get there. My theory, because I believe we saw that horizon before, and there was no old man on that bench. My theory is he was hiding behind a tree, like,
this is it.
They're coming.
Yeah.
He's really excited because his buds were about to be there. He has his new shield, which, as we know, Thanos just crumpled his old shield like paper. So he has his new shield, which he then gives, thereby giving the mantle of Captain America to Falcon.
Yeah.
Why was I blanking on that name? Giving it to Falcon. And so many people wondered, well, where did he get that shield from?
Right. And this is where we're slightly opening a can of worms that we're not going to fully open because...
Not yet.
It's too big a can, guys, which is the alternate timeline thing, right?
Yes. So because some of this is also going to be Ultimate Timeline stuff.
Yeah.
Before we get there, we do have a piece coming up on the timeline issue. We will be sure to announce it so that everyone knows that it's coming. But so we're gonna kind of skirt some of this away and just go, oh, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff for this. But there is someone who is very talented at these things who is going to tackle that timeline question.
Yeah.
It is just not going to be us. I'm too tired, my brain.
It's a lot.
No, it's not going to be us because it's going to be a lot and it's going to be very detailed, and it takes someone to really take the time and dive into it because we want to make sure that we do it right. So that is coming, and we will be sure to let you know when it is available.
Because I loved Avengers Endgame, but if you think too hard on the timeline stuff, it will break your brain a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So there are a couple theories about that shield, which is one's kind of a weirdly, strangely, almost morbid one, which is like, did he like go find himself frozen and like be like, I'll just be yoinking that and creating a divergence where a different Cap does not have his shield because he's like, I'm going to bring it over here to my buddy Falcon. Again, this raises a lot of questions about how he got back to quote unquote our timeline. I've seen people say Doctor Strange helped them or all sorts of different things.
And some people who just said that he just aged into it, and the timeline thing isn't as complicated as we think. It does just collapse some way into being one timeline, and he just aged and became that Captain America and ignore paradoxes or anything else, which the movie did, again, tell us. Back to the Future, all these things. It made sure to hang a lampshade on it to tell us not to worry about it.
Yeah.
But we're nerds, and we're gonna and that's why we have a whole separate piece coming.
Right. But my other theory that, again, I came up sitting here, I was like, oh, wait a second, there's another way that shield could exist, which is when he is given his shield originally by Howard Stark in the 40s, and told it's vibranium and told it's like one of the rarest metals on Earth. And I believe they think that there's pretty much no more vibranium left. Now, of course, much later he will learn there's a lot of vibranium left. So there is the other thing of him going to Wakanda. He's a good guy, so he wouldn't steal it like Cloud.
No.
But he would basically be like, hey, can I get some vibranium? And knowing Howard Stark, again, this raises the question of how much this Steve maybe talked to Howard Stark and said, hey, I'm here, but don't tell anyone. But he could have had another shield made. He had the knowledge of where there was vibranium. He knew someone who could make a shield. So that is my other theory about how there is another shield, a repaired shield that would not take it from Frozen Cap. You know?
Would not take it from Frozen Cap. And I think this is going to wrap up the Steve portion of this, and almost the rest of the video. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yes.
Was Steve always Peggy's husband? We know that Steve decides that he wants to get himself a little bit of that life, as he put it. So he winds up, when he gives back all of the stones and puts them back in their proper places, we know that he decides to just hang out and dance with his best girl.
Dance, yeah.
That's a word for it. So we know that he does go back. And so then that raises the question of, was he always Peggy's husband?
Right.
Did Peggy keep that secret from him? How weird is it knowing that he makes out with his niece when she gets older?
Right.
These things. What do you think?
So again, almost don't want to open the door too much to the whole how much, and again, we're also going to have a piece about what was Steve's life like. Because
I'm writing that.
Yeah, because that raises all these sorts of questions about, how secret did he have to be? Did anyone, did maybe Howard and a few select people know he was there? Did people, what did people know about her life and him, since he would be a known person? But I believe it is supposed to be that he was always her husband. I think it's the Kyle Reese factor, right? Like it's a never-ending time loop that this person was. I don't think he replaced some poor guy, because again, what she says in Winter Soldier, she talks about that he fought in World War II. Her husband. She says it was someone that her husband saved. Liberated. There's a lot of, room there for if she's, covering for the fact that I'm actually married to Steve Rogers, but he's supposed to not be around, that this was always a cover. So I think it's supposed to be the Kyle Reese, this is a time circle.
Look, that family keeping secrets from each other is also another thing that we know, because we remember Sharon speaking about at the funeral, which I think is a weird choice to make that confession while you're giving your aunt's eulogy. But she decides to just straight Jim face into the camera, looking at Steve and saying, oh, we keep things from each other. That's why you guys didn't know we were related. Okay, bye.
Right.
She didn't know about this assignment because gotta go.
And then again, the whole also you are her husband, but I'm going to make out with you later. That part's a lot of strange questions there.
Well, see, my theory for that is just that even when he's around her family, blank hat, sunglasses. It seems to work everywhere else.
I had the Groucho. I think he had big nose, mustache.
Just throws it on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a wacky guy.
That's right. Oh man, maybe super bumbles 1970s Clark Kent's it up, he's knocking stuff over. He
collapses his spine.
Right. Or that couldn't be Steve Rogers. That guy's a moron.
All right, and our final question to wrap all of this up: can we assume that this will be the end of the Avengers for now? We have everyone kind of going off into their own places. We've got plenty of other movies with other teams.
Yeah.
We've got Black Panther. We've got Spider-Man doing his own thing. We're going to get more Guardians of the Galaxy, along with Eternals and other things that have been announced. Do we think that for now, this is going to be the end of the Avengers?
So I think kind of a multi-part answer in that. First of all, there's going to be another movie called Avengers: something. With a different lineup. I mean, a lineup of...
And that's the one where Ant-Man goes up Thanos' back.
That's going to be it, finally. It was funny when he talked about America's ass. I'm like, is this a reference? He's talking about butt stuff. just not Thanos. He's talking about Cap. So I think, there'll be another Avengers movie, first of all. Now, in the world of the MCU, are the Avengers over currently because of what happened? And I think right now they are, right? Okay, look, they lost their leader, Cap. I mean, he still is alive, but he's not going to be running out and fighting. And then they lost the guy funding everything and giving them their equipment with Tony, and the headquarters literally got destroyed.
True, although I will postulate, I don't know, I will posit that more than likely there's some kind of thing in his will, or something that Pepper will handle.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say, though, is that that both Cap and Iron Man would want the Avengers legacy to live on.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow or when Spider-Man Far From Home opens. I don't think we're going to hear that there's an Avengers team out there. But I think that they will start, again, to seed this idea that the Avengers idea should live on, and that Tony and Steve would both want it to live on. And that will set us up for getting a full new team that could still involve Hulk and Thor and maybe Hawkeye, maybe not, but certainly be mostly new people in a few years.
Maybe have Black Panther in there as well as doing his Wakanda stuff.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. That's they will once again have Shuri. And even a Shuri. We've got a Shuri. That could be the tagline for the poster.
Need more science.
Yeah, so I think they're on hold, but I think that I think we're both on the same page that the people that we said goodbye to one way or the other are going to want the team to continue, and so it will one day.
And there it is.
Yep.
Those were our burning questions. I'm sure that you have more. I'm sure that we'll have more. I'm going to go see it again.
Over and over again.
Over and over and over again. By the time you see this, I will probably be on my second time seeing it.
It'll be 5 for me.
Thank you all so much for joining us for Burning Questions. We are going to have so much great Endgame content. You're not going to know what to do with yourselves. And as punchy as you can tell we are, we also don't know what to do with ourselves either. A reminder, yes, we do have a piece that's going to be coming up that's going to be dissecting all of the great timeline stuff. We will let you know. But for now, just keep tuning in. We've got SJU every day. We're going to have a new Honest trailer coming up on Tuesday. Of course, you have to check out Charting, because I imagine this is going to be a real big one.
I heard this movie's making a little bit of money.
I've heard that this is making a little bit of money.
Yep.
So until then, thank you all so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Assemble.